I'm going to open these two pictures in Photoshop. So to open them in Photoshop, I'm going to select them. I'm going to control or right click and I'm going to say open with Adobe Photoshop. And so Adobe Photoshop will will open. So there's my plate and there are my shells, and I want my shells on my plate. I'm going to start off with the nice easy one, which is our what's that called? Sand dollar, isn't it? So there's my sand dollar. Now I'm going to use the quick selection tool and I'm going to paint around what I want to select, and I can choose how thick my brush is here. So you can see now I've got a bigger selection tool, even bigger selection tool. So if I just click on my sand dollar, it's just picked it straight away. Yes? So now I can go to edit and copy. I can go to my plate and go edit and paste, and there's a sand dollar, and let's shift it down there. The next one I'm going to do is this little attractive plate of shells. Now what's the shape of this? It's a circle. So I'm going to use the circle selection tool, or ellipse, and that's found here in this little square selection tool, but there are other shapes I can choose, and I'm going to choose elliptical, an ellipse or a circle. Now to get this accurate, because what I need to do, it starts drawing from the top corner. To get this accurate, you see there I've missed the top of the plate. So I would be picking up some extra pixels which I don't want. So I'm going to quick select, deselect, so it's not selected. The method to get really accurate is to go View, Rulers, so I can see a ruler, and if I drag a line out and just mark the edge of the plate there and the edge of the plate there, where the two lines cross is the perfect place to draw around the plate. So I'm going to go to my elliptical marquee, go to where the two things cross, draw my ellipse around the plate, and that should be a perfect fit. Agreed? So there it is, selected, edit, copy, go to my plate, edit, paste, boom, there it is. And so there's my plate. And the next one, let's have a quick look at the website. What does it say to use? It says do the coral. Now this is a lovely one. I do like the coral. And I like the coral because we're going to use two different ways of selecting. So let's just move over, and here's my coral. I'm going to go back to where my elliptical marquee tool was, and I'm going to go for my rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rectangle around the coral. So it's selected the coral and the white pixels around it. But I don't want the white pixels, so I'm going to use the magic wand. And I'm going to tell the magic, click on the white and say select the white, but I don't want to select, I want to deselect. So up here, this is just select. This is what we call an add to selection. So what I've already selected, where I click, add that to it. This one takes away from the selection. And that one is where the two things join, is the only bit you select. But I want to take away. I want to take away the white. So I click my subtract, still on my magic wand. I set my tolerance to about 32. 22 will probably be fine as well. Anywhere between there. And I'm going to click in the white area. So now the ants are running round the coral. That's all I've got selected because it's taken away the white pixels. And I can go edit, copy to my plate, edit, paste, propeller V for my keyboard shortcut. There's my coral. Let's stick that down there. Next one is the muscles. It says use the lasso tool, draw a small edge before changing tools, and then use the polygonal lasso tool. Continue to draw along the edge of an image, clicking as you go. Okay, so just to show you the difference between the two tools. Let's go back to the plate, the seashells. There's my muscle. Okay. Now the lasso tool is up here. Okay. There are different types: lasso, polygonal, which draws straight lines, and magnetic, which sticks to the edge. Lasso draws exactly where you draw. So if I was drawing with the lasso tool, it's following where I draw exactly. And it's quite hard to be neat and tidy around here. Can you see? It's a bit. It relies on your mouse skills to be really accurate. So it's not one I like to use. So I'm going to go to select, deselect. I could do this with the polygonal, but again, in my mind, it isn't the best tool for this because these edges aren't perfectly straight. But if I click along the edges, it's just drawing straight lines where I'm clicking. So I'm just trying to find the edges as I'm going. But it will be a bit pointy, this shape. That's a nice straight edge. That's a nice straight edge. So is that one. That's not too bad. So I'm doing lots of little clicks. That's not too straight, is it? And when I get to the end, to finish, I do a double click. Click, click. Oops. There we are. Maybe not on this one. It's just a click. So there's my muscle. So edit, copy, edit, paste. Propeller V is my keyboard shortcut. And if you look, that's a pretty nicely cut out shell, really, isn't it? Agreed? Okay. And the next one is the Nautilus. Okay. So let's go to the back to Photoshop. Go to my Nautilus, which is this one, and this is where we're going to use the magnetic lasso. And the magnetic lasso tries to find an edge and wants to follow it. And this one is one you have to take your time over. You start your clicking, and then you very carefully try and trace the edge of the shape, and it will follow it around, and it will choose where to put little points to keep things going. You see that? Yeah? Oh, now what's it done there? Can you see? What's it done? It's jumped. So if I sort of go backwards, oh no, now it's put a point in. So what do I need to do? Press delete, it'll get rid of the point. Delete, get rid of the point. And it'll go back. And then I can be just a little bit more careful and make sure I follow the edge without it jumping. Okay? Now I'm going to do this quick, so it might jump. You would take your time, obviously. For demo purposes, I am doing this quick. So it has jumped there. I'm not worried too much because this is just to show you the technique rather than me being perfect. You will take your time. Okay? So there's my shape. Edit, copy. Let's put it onto my plate. And there's my Nautilus. Position that where I want it. I don't know. Down there. Now just some little tips. Yours might not have these two boxes ticked. If you're on the arrow here, you can move things around, but you can only move that one layer that you've clicked on here. Do you see? So if I'm on layer 4 and now drag, it's only moving the muscle. It's not moving, even if I click on something else, it's the muscle that's moving. Agreed? If I click this button here called auto select, I'm on the arrow, auto select, whichever one I click on, it selects the appropriate layer. And it's working because if you look, that's the only place where there's pixels. The rest there's no pixels, so it's looking, well, which layer has got pixels that you're trying to click on. So I click on my Nautilus, click on my Muscle, click on my, what's it, a sand dollar, and that all works fine. Now there's one last thing to cut out, and this is our extension task really, is this little disc here. Okay, now we want it to look like this. Can you spot a difference? There's a couple of differences.
That's blue.
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
And there's writing on it.
Yeah, this one's got writing on and it's blue instead of brown. Now, let's have a look at how we're going to do this. Have you got some ideas?
Some of them are smaller than others.
Yeah, some are smaller, and that's fine. Let's have a look at what we've done here. So, to make, because this is a circle, should be a nice and easy one to cut out. What tool would I use? The rulers and then the elliptical. So again, I'm just going to zoom in a bit so I can be even more precise. So if I get my ruler, bring it out to the edge, bring it out to the edge. Let's get the marquee tool, go to the elliptical. Let's go on the crossover, draw my circle around the brown shape. Got it? And then edit, copy. Let's go over to my plate, edit, paste, and there's my brown disc. Okay. Now I want to make this a little bit bigger. So to make it a little bit bigger, on this arrow tool, there's another ticky box. It says Show Transform Tools, and if I click on that ticky box, I can make that. It shows up some handles, so I can make it bigger. So that might be a reasonable size to start with. Okay? Yes? So there's that. Now I want this blue. And the best way of doing this is to invert the colour. And I'm going to do this down here with the effects. We did some effects and filters a few weeks ago, didn't we? Now under this one, there's an invert filter, which if I press, inverts the whole picture, but you can see that's turned blue. But there's a little option here, square with the little down arrow. It says only apply it to the one layer below. So it'll, in this case, it will do it just to layer 6 if I click that button. Can you see? So it's added that little arrow to say just this layer. Everything else is returned to normal. And there's my blue disc. Happy with that? Good. So what do I want to do next? I want a bit of text. I'm going to get my T for text. Choose a nice swirly font. Maybe, oh, not Santa Sleigh. I don't think you've got that. Maybe Sign Painter or Snell Round. Let's use Snell Roundhand. You could choose a nice font yourself. I'm going to pick a white colour, and I'm going to write Mr. Long's Shells. Can you read that? No. And that's because of the size. So if I do a quick select all, let's make it much bigger. That's not too bad, is it? Mr. Long Shells. Okay. So there they are, nice and happy. And I've got 2 layers there, which I'm going to select. I'm going to hold Shift and click on there. So I'm clicking on the top layer where the text is, holding Shift, clicking on the bottom layer. Agreed? And then down the bottom is another little button called Link Layer. See that? So that's linked them together, and they've got a nice little chain. And what I should then be able to do is duplicate those layers as that, and I get another set just the same, so I can move. And if I want that bigger, I can make that a little bit bigger. And if I want another one, if I control click, just press return to say that's the size I want it, duplicate layers, and that gives me another one, and I can make that one even bigger still. Okay, press return. The last thing I'm going to do to complete this is I'm going to add an effect on my layer, FX, and I'm going to add a drop shadow. Just like that. I don't like that drop shadow, I can't see it. So I'm just going to double click on my drop shadow, and let's just see what happens. The distance, can you see the shadow? How far away it is? So I just want a small bit. The spread is how big it is, that was fine as it was, and the size is sort of how blurry the shadow is. So I'm going to go for something like that. Do you get that? Click OK, and if I then control click, I can copy the layer style. Copy layer style. I can then click on all my other layers, and then right click, paste layer style. Let's do the next one. Paste layer style. I wonder if I could do more than one at once. Let's do all of those layers there. Yeah, I can. Paste layer style. They've all got shadows on them. Finish my picture. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Finished Plate. Okay? And save. Jobs are good.